Could Russia be facing internal turmoil? Are we witnessing the early stages of Russia's internal collapse? For those who study Russian history, there might be signs that echo past patterns of instability. Recently, Ukraine took an unexpected turn by advancing into Russian territory in the K region. This development has disrupted a conflict that had been largely stagnant for over a year. The Russian defenses in this area were minimal, allowing Ukraine to penetrate about 22 miles, or roughly 35 kilometers, into Russian land. This move by Ukraine has led to the evacuation of approximately 100,000 people from the K region. It raises several critical questions. What strategies did Ukraine use to achieve this? How does this fit into the broader historical context of Russian imperial declines? Interestingly, Russian citizens are growing discontent, with some questioning whether to direct their frustration at Ukraine or their government for allowing this situation. Meanwhile, there have been reports suggesting that hackers, possibly linked to Putin, are targeting YouTubers who criticize Russia. While we haven't been impacted so far, your support, such as liking this video, can help mitigate any potential damage from such activities. Let's explore how Ukraine executed this operation so effectively. Initially, details were sparse as Ukraine kept its plans under wraps, leaving much of the early information to come from Russian sources. On August 6th, reports indicated that a Ukrainian force of about 300 troops, along with tanks and armored vehicles, crossed into Russian territory. Over the following days, this number increased, with Ukraine claiming control over an expansive 444 square miles in the K region, encompassing 82 settlements. A significant factor in Ukraine's success was the vulnerability of Russian defenses, which were caught unprepared. Ukrainian forces capitalized on this by launching a cyberattack that disrupted Russian communications and surveillance systems, contributing to the ongoing struggle of Russian troops to reclaim lost ground, even after more than 10 days. Ukraine's strategy has also expanded beyond confrontations. The Ukrainian military launched a significant drone attack on Russian airfields and reportedly made incursions into the Belgorod region. This marks a shift from their previous, often anticipated, offensives. The new approach, spearheaded by Ukraine's military leaders, is characterized by precise, smaller-scale operations that rely on surprise and rapid execution.
The overarching goal for Ukraine in this campaign seems to be more about leveraging power in negotiations rather than annexing Russian land. By holding onto this territory, Ukraine could force Putin into a corner, increasing the pressure on him to agree to a settlement. Before continuing, let's briefly discuss some changes on YouTube that might interest you. Recently, new channels have been getting more visibility through recommendations, creating opportunities for rapid growth. If you've been thinking about starting a YouTube channel, now is a great time. Regarding the topic, Ukraine's recent actions appear to be a strategic move to weaken Russian efforts on other fronts. Ukraine might relieve pressure on its eastern front by forcing Russia to shift troops to defend its borders. Furthermore, by seizing control of critical infrastructure in the K region, Ukraine could disrupt Russia's supply chains, complicating its logistics and military operations. A bold element of Ukraine's strategy involves directly challenging Putin's image and his past threats. By crossing into Russian territory, Ukraine is essentially calling out Putin's warnings of nuclear retaliation, showing that these threats might not hold as much weight as previously thought. This could encourage Ukraine's allies to provide more advanced military support. Additionally, this invasion could shift the perception of the war within Russia. Previously, state propaganda painted a positive picture of Russian progress. Still, the incursion into the K region exposes Russia's fundamental challenges, which could be embarrassing for Putin and his government. However, not all reactions to Ukraine's actions have been positive. Among NATO allies, opinions are mixed. Some support the invasion, while others are wary of the implications of Ukraine using Western-supplied equipment to cross into Russian territory. Though unverified, there are reports of F-16 fighter jets being seen in the K region. The outcome of this campaign is uncertain and will depend on how various factors play out. If Russia manages to reinforce its defenses, Ukraine might face significant challenges, especially if resources are stretched too thin across multiple fronts. A potential risk for Ukraine is that Russia might invoke Article 4 of the Collective Security Treaty Organization, which could bring additional troops from allied nations like Belarus into the conflict, further complicating the situation. If Ukraine's advance continues, it could destabilize Russia from within, particularly as the impact of the war becomes more apparent to Russian citizens. History has shown that Russian empires often collapse under the strain of prolonged, unsustainable wars, and we might be witnessing the early signs of a similar scenario. Even if Russia withstands this crisis, it will likely become weakened by unresolved internal tensions. Putin's most significant challenge may come from within Moscow, where rival elites could see this turmoil as an opportunity to challenge his leadership. Last but not least, while Ukraine has made significant gains with this bold move, the situation remains highly volatile. The outcome is uncertain, and both sides face substantial risks as this conflict develops.